All right, so this will be one of the videos in my How to YouTube playlist. I actually just got the email from Sandusky Middle School, shout out to SMS, with information about the upcoming career fair. And wow, I was blown away. First of all, the fact that they're very prepared. I got to give props to them for that. Pretty much giving questions out to the attendees as well as the students, because it is going to be a format where I believe that each group of students has about 30 minutes, 25 minutes to go around the room and speak with different people. And I was thinking, this is great, very organized. But then I saw the number of students. I'm like, well, I don't think 500 business cards will be enough, because when I got my business cards in the mail last week, I thought I was doing something. 500, I'm good. But then I was looking at numbers like 80, 75, 82, 78, 93, 87. I thought, okay, what can I do in order to reach out to as many students as I can? Because I remember being a kid and going to career day, career fairs, and being intimidated because you had so many options and you couldn't go to everything. Before you even go to a career fair, you need to pinpoint what tables or booths do I want to go up to, which ones do I have the most interest in. And I was thinking to myself, there have been a lot of times where I've been given an opportunity, but I didn't always know exactly what to say, even with pre-made questions. And even after the conversation, there were still things I wanted to know. So I figured one thing I could do is, I'm a YouTuber. Why don't I just make a video answering all 15 questions? Because I don't know how many people will be coming to my table, but I was thinking to myself, it's a middle school, kids love technology. And honestly, I don't even know if kids is the correct term for 6th to 8th graders, because with so much technology and information, they are literally young adults. And I do not use that phrase loosely, because they know so much because of all the technology and information they have at their fingertips. So I figured that for the students who I didn't get the chance to talk to, this is a great way to make up for that. To the students who I was able to speak with, if there were other more detailed answers to the questions that I wasn't able to answer in person, I apologize, because looking at these questions, I was thinking to myself, if I were a student, or even, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, when I was in my, early 20s, going to job fairs, there were things I wish I would have known. I hope this video helps out. So within the next several minutes, probably 20 or more, I mean, if you sit through this video, you're a champ, but I wanted to give as many detailed answers as possible, because in a career fair setting, you have to be quick, fast, and in a hurry, especially if you have more tables to go to. So I want to make this fair for everyone to have the time to sit down, listen to this video, jot down the answers on your sheet of paper. That way you pretty much know everything that I do. And let's get started. All right, question number 1, describe your occupation and duties. First of all, my name is Jeremy Cardin. I'm self-employed and I am a YouTube content creator. That's pretty much my occupation. What are my duties? I mean, I'm probably jumping ahead all the way down to number 13 and number 7, but I do everything myself, from recording my videos to editing to posting my videos to marketing my videos around on social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everything else in between. I pretty much review Tyler Perry's The Haves and the Have-Nots, as well as other television shows and movies I enjoy watching. I get behind my microphone and I talk about it. So pretty much I review things for a living, which is great. But on the downside, it's hard for me to enjoy anything without being critical of it. But we do live in a day and age where everybody's a critic. So I figure, why not get paid for it? So YouTube content creator, and I'm pretty much a jack of all trades where I do everything myself. Question number 2, what made you decide to enter this profession? Well, this is a two-pronged answer, because number 1, I spent 3 years after college. I finished up grad school at Liberty University. I went to the Liberty University Online Academic Advising Department for 3 years as an academic advisor. Call center agent, pretty much answering phone calls all day, helping people get registered for classes, help them from matriculation to graduation, mainly from the time they start with Liberty till the time they finish up, and everything else in between, answering financial aid questions. What class do I take next semester? What do I do if I have problems with the professor? I pretty much was doing that 40 hours a week. And I'm going to be honest, what made you enter this profession? Not to sound like a downer, because I know you are middle school students, life is rough once you finish up school, because graduate school, college, however far you decide to go with your education, once you cross that stage, everything you do after that is on you. While you're in school, everything is routine, it's schedule. I know when to wake up, when do I have class, when do I have exams. If you have like a part-time job or whatever during school, that's, you know, another piece of routine. But once you graduate, that's when you finally hit the real world and you realize all the decisions I make today will impact my future. That's a heavy subject, but I want to answer these questions as honestly as possible. And another reason was debt, because going to school means you will most likely be in debt unless you have a lot of scholarships, a wealthy family, or, you know, you end up working for the school for X amount of years and they end up paying it off. But, you know, look into repayment plans and scholarships and all. I did all those things, but really it's a matter of what's the best way to eliminate debt as soon as I can, because once you get out of school, once you move out of mommy and daddy's house, you are on your own, unless you have a roommate. But in any case, you still have bills. So the job at the call center, it was good. I'm not going to sit behind this mic and rant about what was great, what was lousy about the job, even though I do have a playlist where I do just that. But in any case, the job was just going through so many management changes. I was literally one of the best advisors on the floor when it came to getting people signed up for classes, financially checking them in, helping students out, pretty much getting a ton of money for the university, but not getting substantial raises or anything like that to reflect my work ethic in the call center. And YouTube literally got to the point where it was paying my bills. So I figured I could work 40 hours a week, straining my vocal cords on a phone all day and barely, you know, making YouTube videos and actually paying my bills with it, or quit this job, focus on YouTube, something that I believe in, and hopefully expand it to the point where it's bringing in even more revenue. And that's what I did. And that's pretty much how I decided to enter this profession. And if you want my full origin story, if you will, I did do another video called How to YouTube. And that's about a 40-minute plus video where I go into extreme detail. So if you want more backstory, that's the video to check out. Question number 3. This is a fun one. I was looking at these questions and thinking this is going to be very fun to talk about. What are your typical work hours? Anything I want. I make my own hours and it is great. The Haves and the Have-Nots does come on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on OWN. So I do watch the show live if I can. If not, I'll just watch it later that night or the next morning. I typically do my episode reviews, my trailer breakdowns for the next episode, any theory videos, pretty much within 24 to 48 hours while the topic is still hot and more people will click on the videos and look it up. But to be completely honest, if I were to tell you how many hours out of a week I do YouTube, I would say in terms of recording is the easy part. I just sit behind a mic and talk. Editing takes a little bit of time if I'm getting the right photos and video clips. So I would say maybe 12 hours or less a week. I mean, on top of that, yes, I do my social media plugs where I post on my Have and Have Not Instagram, put it on Twitter, Facebook, and whatnot. Yeah, I wouldn't even say 12 to 15 hours a week. And that's pretty much what I do. I pretty much do not hit an alarm clock. I get to eat and sleep whenever I want. And yeah, so it's pretty great. I make my own hours. Number 4, what type of education would I need if I wanted to do what you do? What school subjects do you feel would be most helpful to prepare for a position like yours? Communications. I actually did get a bachelor's degree in communications, and I was specializing in advertising public relation. Before I left Liberty, I do believe there were talks of a bachelor's degree about social media. I could be wrong about that, but I do know they were talking about it. So you're in middle school now, so by the time you graduate, there's probably going to be degrees on social media. I remember seeing articles about classes in college about memes. I do believe that is true. So communications would be the broad topic. Pretty much any profession where you're learning about how to use social media in the most effective way possible, how to speak behind or in front of the camera, you know, get your voice across strongly, get your point across. Yeah, I would definitely say communications would be the topic to study in school, but for all I know, they will probably change the name of communications 5 times, because when I was at Liberty working on the phones, I do know they were changing the program name so much I couldn't even tell you what it's called, because communications is one of those degrees where it's not quite a philosophy degree where people will ask you, why are you getting a degree that's not taking you anywhere? But it is hard to explain what communication does, because there are so many things that go under it. You know, being in front of a TV at ABC 13 News as a weatherman, or working at a newspaper because you're a publisher or something along those lines. So communications, but also these are things you can learn now, because social media, anyone could be a YouTuber. So if you are listening to this video, don't waste time, you know, start studying on how to YouTube. Literally Google those things, because to be honest, you can start now before you even get a degree. So keep that in mind. Question number 5. What do you enjoy most about this position? Freedom. Doing whatever I want whenever I want to do it. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. I literally mean doing whatever I want whenever I want to do it. Nobody's telling me what to do. If you listen, my theme song, Bobby Brown, My Prerogative, that song literally encompasses my lifestyle ever since I left that call center. I mean, it's my prerogative. I do what I want to do. I live how I want to live. I made this money. You didn't. So don't tell me what to do with it. But yes, it is great being able to not just have all this freedom, but also being able to do something I'm passionate about. And that's one thing I want to drive home about being a YouTuber. You don't have to stick to something specific, but it does help if you have a theme for your channel. Yes, the haves and the have-nots is my main bread and butter, but there are various other Tyler Perry shows and movies I talk about. Other times I talk about other shows that are popular, like Greenleaf, and I did start watching Empire, because that came out around season 2 of the haves and the have-nots, but I couldn't get into it. So pick something that you're passionate about and something that you enjoy doing, so it doesn't feel like work. That's one thing I want to drive home to you, because it might seem like, okay, I want to talk about trying to think of a good TV show here, or a show that most people kind of watch, like maybe The Flash, or you know, there are girls listening, you know, The Real Housewives, or you know, some along those lines, or Jersey Shore. Don't they have like a remake of that? Or, you know, I want to be completely honest here. If you watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, you probably could do a YouTube channel about that. There may be something out there already, but literally, if you pick something that you're passionate about, you will enjoy doing it. So that's pretty much the best thing. I pretty much don't have to punch an alarm clock. I can do what I want. I can record videos on Tuesday through Wednesday and just be done with my work for the week, post them on YouTube, and they make the money while I go out, do what I want. We got a gym at my apartment complex that's like 2 minutes down the sidewalk. Luckily, it's getting warmer, so I don't have the excuse of staying inside, because it's like single-digit degrees, so I can go there more often and go around the burg, you know, just browsing around, shopping, or getting some fresh air. So just being able to do what I want has been a great freedom for me. Just not having anybody telling me how to do things. Aside from YouTube, you know, that demonetization button, you do not want to play with that. So stick within the YouTube guidelines, and you can literally do whatever you want whenever you want to do it. Question 6. What do you find most difficult and stressful about your position? I think the most stressful time that I've had on YouTube was early 2018. I left the call center job. I'll never forget it. October 17th, 2018. So October 18th was my first official day as being an entrepreneur, if you will, doing what I set my mind to. Hang on a second. 17, I'm sorry. So October 17th, 2017 was when I left the job. So early 2018 was when I felt, okay, this is stressful. I think it was Logan Paul, whatever the guy's name was, a big time YouTuber. He was in a forest in China. It was some kind of place where people committed suicide and whatnot, and he filmed it, you know, like a dead body there. And then YouTube literally went nuts, because they literally, I believe a lot of YouTubers referred to it as the adpocalypse, where it was nearly impossible to get videos up without instantly getting the yellow $ sign for the monetization. So let's say if I posted an episode review for the haves and the have-nots and it got the yellow $sign because YouTube needed to review the video, it's like, okay, we're not going to review this video until it gets at least 1,000 views. And even after that, it could sometimes take 24 to 48 hours for that video to be reviewed. So let's say if the video got 20,000 hits from Tuesday night to Wednesday night, that's 24 hours. If that yellow $sign is still there, there's a good chance my video has limited or no ads. So that's a lot of money that I'm losing. So even when it turns green because it got the check mark for review, that's still not accounting for the money I lost over the past 2 days. So there was a point in time where I thought, okay, did I quit my job too soon? Do I have to go back? Do I have to find another job? But luckily, with faith, hard work, and determination, the channel kept growing. Revenue kept coming in, so thankfully I did not have to pursue another career. So that was the most difficult time that I went through and stressful. But YouTube is always changing because it is frustrating where if notifications isn't working. So let's say if I'm doing, and this has happened in recent weeks where if I'm doing a live stream, you know, there are over 60,000 people on the channel. A lot of people don't get those notifications, so they don't know I'm going live. So while I'm live, I might be talking with 5 or 10 people. Last night on a Sunday when I was doing a couple live streams, I had about a couple hundred people. So those live streams have over 1,000, 2,000 views put together. So that's good. But YouTube isn't always the most stable platform. That's why a lot of people go to Twitch and other methods of video formatting. But luckily for me, you always want to make sure you have multiple forms of income coming in. And I'll answer that question once I get to the question. I want to say it's question 14. Yeah, when I talk about the money. So definitely don't beat yourself up if you're not making the numbers you want to make, because the one thing I do appreciate about YouTube is that there aren't really many people to compete against other than yourself. If you want to get better, you want to get more views, more subscribers, you're really your own competition. There aren't really a lot of other channels doing what I do. In regards to the haves and the have-nots, there are a few other channels that review the show, but they don't do in-depth theories like I do. So that's pretty much what's making me unique and stand out. And I think when I quit my job, the one thing I wanted to do first was beat Liberty University in subscriber numbers. At the time, they had about 40,000 subscribers. And once I passed that, I felt like I just accomplished something, like I beat the beast that I used to work for. And then there was another channel that was higher than mine, and I passed them a couple weeks ago. They had about 62,000 subscribers. And when I jumped to 63 before they did, I'm about 1,200 ahead of them. So that was a huge milestone. So I can officially say I have the largest haves and the have-nots channel on YouTube. So I'm proud of that. But the job is as stressful as you make it. Like, don't beat yourself up if you worked hard on a video and it didn't get the views you want. That's okay. Sometimes videos you make a year or 2 years from now, a video you make today probably won't start blowing up for another couple years or so. And that's the truth. So don't beat yourself up. The most difficult thing about the job is if your numbers aren't looking good, like if you don't feel like you're making enough money to survive within the first couple of weeks of the month, you start freaking out. Don't freak out. You get paid once a month and all that money comes in one lump sum. So let's say if Tuesday you only make $50, that's okay. There's still an entire week left. So, well, 5 days a week left. So you still have time to make up for it. So don't pull your hair out over it. Number 7, does your work involve working with others? What do you do if you don't get along with someone at work? I work alone, so I am solo, which is great. Sometimes it's kind of like, I think, what if I had an assistant to help me out with social media and whatnot? But I think I only work like 12 hours a week or so. I mean, sometimes it's more. Do you count live streams as work? Because I literally sit in front of my camera and talk and answer questions, and people donate on Super Chat sometimes. They will literally give me money because they love the channel. And I tell you one thing, and I let my subscribers know, I don't really call them fans because that is cool to say that, but I'm just a normal person. I do not work for Tyler Perry Studios or anything like that. I'm just a major fan of the show, and people treat me like a celebrity because when I first got started on YouTube after I quit the job, you know, I would do live streams where I would have like what was it called? Like Google Phone or something, where people would call in and I would talk to them. But the quality really wasn't that good, and I need to work on that more. I haven't done that in a while. but that was a good opportunity because people would call in like a radio show. It felt great. I had people from like the Philippines and Nigeria, I kid you not, and China calling me at like 8 p.m. here, but I have no idea what time it was on their side of the world. And they would treat me like this celebrity because it's such an honor to be on your channel because I love your stuff so much, and it felt good. And plus my theories are usually so on point. People assumed I was working for Tyler Perry Studios because I was always guessing what was right. And that's just from looking at clues, not spoilers, but clues. But also, that's pretty much the closest I come to working with others. When you think about it this way, I have a devoted audience. So when I post content, in most cases, those people are sharing videos for me. So unofficially, people work for me, but my money comes from the people who click on my videos and watch them. So I do everything involving the nuts and bolts of the channel myself. But in terms of, you know, getting stuff put together, that's all me. But keep in mind, I do have a devoted fan base. So typically I'm flooded with a bunch of DMs and comments and tweets per day with various new news about the show. Like, hey, Tyler Perry dropped a trailer. Hey, Tyler Perry announced this and that. Oh, one of the characters from the show said this. So a lot of time, most of the news I get is from my sources. And, you know, they're dedicated fans, so there's nobody on my payroll. But what was the second part? What do you do if you don't get along with someone at work? I get frustrated with myself. So does that count? It's like, oh man, I should have posted a video 2 hours ago. It could have got more views or something like that. But I really don't have an answer for that question since I'm solo. Ooh, this is another fun one. What kind of clothes do you wear for your job? Any uniforms worn? What about protective headgear? None of the above. I mean, I'm not going to lie. And I'm literally sitting at my desk right now. This is about 7 feet from my bed because I do all my work in my bedroom of the apartment. I literally can get out of bed after brushing my teeth and washing my hair and showering, of course, because you don't want to be smelling yourself on camera. I know that was bad grammar, but hey, it's my channel. I feel like I'm answering one of the money questions about the salary first, but honestly, you can wear whatever you want. I will say that if you're doing live streams and you're in front of a camera, you want to look somewhat presentable. But there have been times where I literally get out of bed and I have to do a live stream because of breaking news. So I do hate it when my t-shirts, like the neck area is a bit wrinkled because I don't have time to iron or throw it in the dryer. But you do want to look semi-presentable. I think males can get away with it a lot more than females. Again, I studied communication, so I did learn a lot of things about body language, communication skills, as well as what is accepted by society. And in terms of advertising, sex sells. That is very true. No, I do not deal with that on this channel, but I'm just saying because I remember reading about an experiment, a social experiment, and this was actually trending online a year or so ago, where they actually had a couple of news anchors. The male anchor, you had a female anchor. The male wore the exact same suit and tie for like, what, a month, 3 months or whatever. And at the end of their experiment, they brought it up how this is the kind of society we live in today where a male can literally wear the same thing every day. Nothing is said. But if a female did it, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So, I mean, you can literally wear what you want. Like, I literally can get out of bed and, you know, whatever I'm wearing, then t-shirt, shorts, whatever the case may be, I can literally get behind the mic and start working. Because there have been days, even when I first started working on YouTube, where I say, and I'm not trying to sound cocky or anything, but I can say, do I feel like making money today? If the answer is yes, I will literally get up and start working. If not, it's like, well, my analytics is looking good. I'm making some good income. Oh, it's only the second week of the month and I've already made enough money on YouTube to pay all my bills next month. Okay, I'm good. So you can wear whatever you want. I have a walk-in closet that is full of suits, ties, and I am a huge fan of wacky socks. I think this was a habit I got from one of my roommates when I was in college because he was a photographer, and him and a few friends started like this men's fashion group, and I was part of that. So that's when I really upped my game in terms of, you know, we called it swag back then. I don't know if that term is still used. I'm 27, so I do feel out of the loop, but yeah, I do have a lot of ties and suits. But yeah, I did do communications, public speaking in 12th grade in high school. and that gave me college credit so I could skip over communications 101. And in that class, you know, I dressed up a lot. So I still am able to thankfully fit those clothes. I wasn't huge in high school, but a lot of those clothes were, you know, yeah, I think I could still fit my suit from prom. Very nice. But in any case, I'm saying that you want to look, what was that saying? Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. That's the best thing to put into it. But let's be honest, we live in a day and age where people on Twitch and YouTube do video gaming for a living, talk about comic books. They get to wear t-shirts and whatnot. Working at the call center, you had to wear slacks and everything. I used to dress up all the time in the call center. Like, yeah, ladies would turn their head. Too bad they were married, so, you know, I couldn't hit on them. But, well, what I'm saying is, I just like the freedom of being able to wear what I want as opposed to having to wear a uniform by force. So, yeah. And question number 9. Where do you do your type of work? What special tools or equipment are needed? Oh, I think I answered this already. Most of my recording takes place in my room because of the acoustics. I pretty much can sit at my desk and just record. I can literally do my job wherever I want to. So on my iPod or phone or whatever, if I want to do a video live, like a live stream, I could just do it that way, and then I could edit it later on if I want to. So I could pretty much just work wherever there's good sound. That's the easiest way to answer that question. What special tools or equipment? Like I said before, if you watch my video, How to YouTube, I actually go into extreme detail. I use a blue snowball microphone. I got mine at Best Buy and Walmart. I actually have gone through 2 mics already, about $40 a pop. So literally, if you go to Best Buy or Walmart, you will see these in the electronic in Walmart, you will find them near the computer section where they had the keyboards and the computer cleaners and whatnot. And if you go to Best Buy, they are where the Macs and everything are. So literally, you just need to buy a microphone. And then in terms of software, this was all free. Audacity, free. Windows Movie Maker, I use a PC, so I do not know if Macs have that same software. And then, of course, I use YouTube, which is absolutely free. But then I also, you know, just Google stuff in terms of, you know, how to do something. Because we live in a day and age where there are videos and step-by-step guides on the internet of how to do stuff. And question 10. What recommendations do you offer to someone who is interested in entering a similar position? Well, I guess the best way to do it is this. If you love YouTube in terms of there are several people you follow like religiously in terms of you watch all their content. If you want, I want to be like that guy or that girl. Watch what they're doing closely. Like, look at some of the things they do in their videos. Do they have video intros? Do they have video outros? When do they do their social media plugins in terms of, hey, if you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, and check the description box for all the links to my other social media to link up with me. Look at their speech pattern, you know, certain things like, you know, do they talk fast? Do they talk slow? When does their voice go up to emphasize a point? When does it turn mellow when they want to get a point across? Like, look, this is very important. I need you to listen to things like that. But also start now, because I think the director for the career fair who has been contacting all the participants, I was told earlier that a lot of people do want to be YouTubers. So you might want to gear up for a lot of students coming to your table. So if people who were at my table are watching, or if there are people who wanted to come to my table but I wasn't able to talk to, what would I recommend doing? Start now. You are young, but you can start doing YouTube anytime you want. Being in middle school, I am assuming you're minor, so there might be some parental guidelines and whatnot. So definitely talk with your parents, because we live in a day and age. I mean, growing up for me, you know, obviously different. Like, I'm only 27, so that might seem old to you, but young to a lot of other people. But I know things have drastically changed from when I was in high school, because my 10-year high school reunion is this year. But I'm probably not going because, well, you know, as you grow up, your friend circle gets smaller. Like, a lot of the people you know today, you might not be friends with in the future because, well, people change and stuff like that. But just know that technology can be dangerous, but it could be very useful if you use it properly. So one thing I want to talk about is the fact that we live in a day and age where everybody has a piece of technology joined to their hips. So YouTube is enjoyable, but you don't have to make it your life. You know, like social media can either be detrimental to your future because you spend all your time on there and waste it, or you can use it to your advantage in order to get paid for it. So I would suggest, well, just studying your favorite YouTubers and simply going to the internet and typing in how to get started on YouTube. What are some tips? There are a lot of Facebook groups out there you can join that are, again, these are Facebook groups. You can join. They're like YouTube support groups where other YouTubers are trying to make it, and you can talk about tips and hints and whatnot. I'm still learning, guys. I'm still learning. My main goal is to hit that 100,000 mark to get that silver play button. So yeah, there's always something to learn there. So that was 10 questions. We have 5 more to go. Question 11. In your opinion, what type of attitude and personality traits are important in order to be successful in this career field? I think that really goes back to question number 6 when it talks about what do you find most difficult and stressful about the position. Keeping a positive attitude, believing in yourself when nobody else does, and just continuing to do what you do and being consistent. One thing you want to do is try to be consistent with your uploads, because some people have strategy. I'm going to be honest, I really don't. I know obviously that within a 24-hour period of an episode airing, I want to get my episode review and trailer breakdown on the channel as soon as possible. Those typically get about 7,000 plus views within 24 hours. So when it comes to that, yeah, I definitely want to do that. But in terms of other theories and whatnot, I try to spread them out. But there are some days where if I record 10 videos in one setting, I will post 10 videos in one setting without even scheduling one per day. I'm not going to lie. That's how I do it. That's pretty much it. I just do it that way. But yes, it is discouraging at times, because when I quit my call center job, I remember before I quit, I told my mom, like, I'm thinking about doing this full time. And the thing is, and I don't want to go on to a rant about parents and how, you know, they treat children when they make decisions they might not like. Let's put it this way. I let my mom know that I want to quit my job, and I'm not asking you for money. I just want your support. It's like, I just need you to, like, I could have, look, I'm an adult. I can quit my job whenever I want to, but it just feels good to have somebody in your corner, you know, where I said, I remember visiting home. I'm from South Boston, Virginia. That's an hour away from Lynchburg. So literally, if I jumped in my car from my apartment on Timberlake Road and went to my parents' house, that's literally like a 55-minute drive. So I remember one weekend before, you know, and I didn't have to work on Saturday, I asked her, it's like, what do you think? I'm thinking about leaving my job. This YouTube thing is working. I'm not asking you and Dad for a dime. I just want to know, just, hey, do you support my decision? And that's it. And she said, yeah. So I quit my job. But then like 3 days after I quit the job, she asked me, so you been looking for another job? All I got to say is this, and I might do another video on this if people want me to talk about it. How does it feel when people close to you are actually killing your dream instead of supporting you? I might actually do a video on that. It cuts deep. It's like Donkey said, you cut me deep, Strek. You just cut me deep right now. But you got to have an attitude where you don't give up. Because I knew the moment I turned in my resignation letter, my 13-page resignation letter, I said that to myself, okay, if you quit, this is it. You really got to be serious about this, because YouTube is fun, but it is a job. But when you get your channel to the point where you're making a lot of money, you can do whatever you want. So, but at the same time, you need to treat this like a job. And I will get into more detail about this when I get to question number 14. But let's see here. Oh, also, I think I said before, self-confidence, because I did not want to get in front of a camera. Believe it or not, I've been a public speaker since I was 7 or 8 years old, speaking in church and whatnot. And from there, you know, going to college, public speaking in classes and stuff like that, and at events when I was in different organizations. So I'm not afraid of public speaking. I'm an introvert and very shy, though, because being on stage and then interacting with people afterwards are two different things. But on top of that, being in front of a camera is the camera adds 10 pounds, and plus you know, one eye looks bigger than the other, because when I was a baby, I would peek inside of the bottle when I was out of milk, and my mom says that's how one of your eyes looks slightly bigger than the other. So luckily, I met you all in person before you watch this video, so you won't notice that about me unless you watch my live stream. So that kind of sucks. But in any case, it was fun. I remember when I first got into live streams, that's when money really started coming in, because for whatever reason, live streams get a lot of views quicker than standard videos. I don't know why that is, but that's how it is. But just be self-confident and yeah, just keep a positive attitude, even when things look grim, because there have been days where I'm freaking out because I'm worried about not making enough money to pay my bills, but then everything turns out okay. And one other thing, if you have parents and they're struggling, like, obviously you don't have to tell me that if that's a personal thing, you don't, because I grew up where it's like the basic necessities were met, but I didn't always get what I wanted, which is obviously a good life lesson to learn, because when you start paying your own bills and whatnot, you begin to ask yourself, how did my parents make this work? Like, you know, you're struggling to make ends meet and, you know, getting groceries and whatnot, yet your parents were able to pay all the bills and support you and things of that nature. And when Christmas came around, you would usually get, you know, sometimes what you wanted. Yeah, so you literally respect your parents more once you get older and realize what they had to do. Because I know that times are, well, not technically as different as when I was a kid, but, you know, some people came from single parent households. I didn't, you know, two parents and my mom, dad, and sister, we all lived in the same house, obviously. But yeah, you know, just realizing that you got to keep your head up, because not every day is going to be glamorous, if you will. I guess it's the best term to use. I don't know. I feel like that's a bit flowery to use, but not every day will be a good day. There will be some days where YouTube will do something that will make you mad because of copyright claims or demonetization, but other days they will be great because you made a video that you didn't think would do a lot of views and it hit like 50,000. So yeah, just keep positive attitude. Question number 12. What communication skills do you need for the job? I think this goes back to number 4. Communication, you want to get your point across. Some people are impatient and they want you to get to the point quick. There have been times where I ramble a bit, but this is called the haves and have-nots review, as in, yes, there might be a topic of discussion for a video, but then I might go off on another tangent because this show is a deep soap opera. So if I'm talking about one character, I might go on a crossroad to another character because they're linked up by storyline. But other times when I'm doing live streams, it is fun. Like Super Bowl Sunday, I did not watch the Super Bowl. I went to bed at 7:30 and woke up at 5 a.m. the next day, so I missed it. I don't care. I don't really follow sports. I did a live stream about 6 p.m. just to have fun, just talking with the people about some theories and stuff. After 15 minutes, we talked about everything there was to talk about because I had already done theory videos on all the theories I had to do up to that point. So for 20 minutes, we talked about some of my favorite childhood theme songs, like Did You Watch Ed, Ed and Eddie? And then we talked another 20 minutes about pizza because I thought, well, I could order a pizza for the Super Bowl, but it's 6 p.m. If I ordered a pizza now, I probably won't even get it until 9 p.m. because it's Super Bowl Sunday. But yeah, we just had fun with that. So communication, you want to get your point across. You want to speak clearly. I mean, now is as good a time as any because you're young. You are in social settings at school, so you get the opportunity to speak. One thing I'll point out is I know it is nerve-wracking to be in front of a crowd. So if you ever have to present in school, go first. Be that person, be that guy, be that girl. Because one thing I love doing in public speaking class was setting the floor on fire. Like I would always be the first one to set the bar high and then everybody would try to beat me. And there's, oh man. Okay, this is something I learned in my first year of college. And great, look, you're in middle school. This is a fun game. So jot this down. It was called the game because one thing I learned in communication was about the articulation. Filler words would get you docked off points. It's like, let's say if you get in front of a class to speak, your grade is 100, but every time you do something wrong, that's like a point. So if you, for example, said or or things like that, those are filler words. So I remember being in communications class, like let's say you're in a class of 30 people and then everybody has speeches to do for like a week. So you have to sit in class each day and listen to people talk. One thing one of my fellow students said is like, look, here's the game. So all you got to do is like tally mark every time a student says or whatever, because one student, oh my gosh, this was terrible. Communications 360 professional communications class. A student got up there named Tyler. I'm not saying his last name, but it was funny because this guy, he got up there and some people say or so clearly that it's like, how do you not hear them say that? How do they not hear themselves? So he was in the middle of his speech. I kid you not. This guy said, and that's how I would pitch a business to a board meeting, because I would get up here and say, and I think he lost his train of thought, but he went, I'm I'm not lying. He did that for like 15 seconds. I'm not playing. It was funny, but it was a great way to pass time. So I know on YouTube, sometimes I do that because sometimes I'm doing live streams and whatnot or videos just because somebody sends me a theory or I just feel like recording. It's free thinking. So sometimes my articulation is not professional where I'm not omitting filler words because this is fun. But at the same time, you want to speak clearly, get your point across, and be able to communicate with others. Like, let's say if you're in the middle of a live stream and you invite someone on to talk with you, you know, you want to have the conversation hitting the bullet points and things like that. Question 13, do you supervise people? Nope, because I work alone. What is involved with supervision? I don't know. I work alone. Do you have a supervisor? Thank goodness, no. That's one thing I loved about leaving the call center. I am a person who I am open to criticism, but I hate micromanagement and nitpickiness. For example, Liberty University, I'm on the phone. I get a student to register for their summer classes and then their fall classes because fall registration has opened. Their financial aid is set up. So I get them to do 2 financial check-ins in one call. So, I mean, that one phone call. And let's say if I registered that student for 12 classes, well, 12 credit hours per semester, that's like 24 credit hours. So that's like $10,000 plus I just made the school. But guess what? If I forgot to say it was a privilege speaking with you today or something along those lines, I would get dock points on the phone call. So yes, I love not being micromanaged. The closest thing to micromanagement is when YouTube, you know, demonetizes a video because you might have used profanity when you shouldn't have. And yes, I have done that before. But then sometimes, you know, your video gets the green check mark because they reviewed it. It wasn't that bad. So as long as you're not overly inappropriate, then you should be cool on YouTube. So thankfully, no supervisor. Thank goodness. No. Question 14. What are the starting salaries and educational requirements for people who hold positions similar to yours? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to answer number 15 first because number 14 is going to be a lengthy answer. Okay, are we cool with that? So I'm going to question number 15, and then I'm going to jump back to question number 14. You know, I have to apologize because I had to pause my recording to get some water because this was a long video to go through. And the people upstairs in the apartment above my bedroom have decided to vacuum. But this is the only time I can record this video between now and the career fair. So if there is any background noise, I apologize. So I will speak as clearly as possible on this. But this is the part of the video where I want you to just kick back and relax because there is a lot of information I'm going to throw at you in a very casual fashion because these are very good questions here. So question 15, what are some ways for students to find out more about this career? Once again, I think I touched upon this in various other questions, but really technology is at your fingertips. Go ahead and take some time after you finish your homework, of course, finish your assignments and just Google how to YouTube. Look at some of your favorite YouTubers, inspirational books like Steve Harvey's Jump. If you don't want to read an entire book, go on, you know what? I think I'll do this. I will actually put links in the description. No, not the description. That's where my social media is. I will write a comment and then I'll pin it to the top comment. So every time you click on the video, my comment should be the first one you see. There are some various inspirational clips that I would look at and listen to all the time, like every day when I was at the call center, when I just hated being there. When I felt like I could not escape to do something more fulfilling with my life, because you will most likely, and this is true, and I can speak from it because I'm young. I might not be a teenager, but I'm young enough to know that I can remember exactly what I was doing in middle school and things like that. And after I graduated, went to college, and when I got my first real job, and how I just felt in that position, because after only 3 months of being an advisor, I had already broken a couple of records in terms of, you know, most calls and most financial check-ins on the floor for a single month and things like that. So I literally hit the ceiling after only a couple of months, and I was there for 3 years. So I know what it's like to do what you have to do in order to pay your bills, but not really enjoying it. But at the same time, showing up, killing it on the phones and clocking out. That's one thing I was able to say after I left, because I had people coming up to me who I had never spoken to, like these big wig supervisors and whatnot. It's like, As long as you've been here, I never heard a bad thing about you. You came in, you did your job, because this was during a time where people were literally going into the supervisor's office. I've heard some stories about people cussing out other people and leaving, but I came in, I did what I did, 13-page resignation letter. That was well written. There was no profanity, but there were memes. But it was a very good experience in terms of I learned a lot. So yeah, I do have a series on this channel called, Liberty University. I forgot the exact name of it, but it's like Liberty University behind the scenes or something like that. But I haven't finished that story because there are a lot of videos in the playlist, but I haven't talked about everything. But really, I talk about what it's like to work a job where you don't feel like you're appreciated. You put your all into it, but you're not really getting it back, and you feel like giving up. But yeah, Kev on Stage is probably one of my favorite, not just YouTube, but social media personalities of black nerd comedy, because, being a, black guy, it's like there are people like me doing this for a living. So what can I do to do this? So there are just so many clips. Tyler Perry's, he did a great, video talking about it's easy to feel like you want to do 25 things, but what you need to do is plant one seed and cultivate that. Because if you have a field, or like, if you have like a little, I remember being in elementary school, like the string bean project or whatever, where you have like a little styrofoam cup and you would put a plant in there, like a seed, and watch it grow. If you have and I'm just using this analogy, if you have like a styrofoam cup, but you have like 15 seeds, and each seed represents something you want to do. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a lawyer. I also want to be a blogger. I also want to be a teacher. Whatever you want to put into your cup. It's hard to cultivate and allow each seed to grow when there's not enough room for it, because sometimes you need to just focus on one thing and let that grow. And from that, everything else will fall into place. So like I've said in my how to YouTube video, I did not ever dream, I did not expect to be doing YouTube for a living, where I can do whatever I want, whenever I want it to, until I got behind a microphone to record and hit upload. I grew up with dial-up. Let me say that again. I grew up with dial-up. My first semester in college, I was an online student because Liberty's my paperwork got messed up and delayed. So I wasn't residential until the spring of 2010. So after I graduated high school, that fall, I was an online student. I made it on dial-up. I have no idea how, because I'll never forget the first time I went to campus as a student and hooked up my internet. I binge watched so many YouTube videos. I'm talking Power Rangers, Michael Jackson, Motown 25, Dragon Ball Z. I know this sounds nerdy, but when I was a CFA student in college for a weekend, let me give you perspective of how small my town is in South Boston. Walmart is the mall. La Coretta is the it place to eat. And I don't like Mexican food. I have never stepped foot into a La Coretta. So when I came to Lynchburg and was a student for a weekend, me and my buddy, from high school that I invited, because, you got to bring a friend for free. We were riding the bus around campus and were pumped. Like, no lie. We would ride the bus for like 2 hours. We would pull the little string to stop the bus. We were excited just to do that, and of course, get off the bus. You don't want to troll the driver. And I remember stepping into Toys R Us for the first time in my life. I was, 17, 18? No, 16, 17? Yeah, Toys R Us. Like, again, I live from the middle of nowhere. So being in Lynchburg to me is a big city. So yeah, really just dream. That's all I can really tell you. Pick something you want and go for it. But like I said before, you are young. If you want to do this for a living, guess what? You still have a few more years before you cross the stage of graduation for high school. So you can literally start making ad revenue if your channel gets to the YouTube guidelines, which I don't know what they are at this point. Last time I checked, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, because I actually do have a second channel called We Are the Flash. I know that name sucks because season 4 of The Flash sucked, but that channel was the one I was going to use to talk about anime and superhero shows and whatnot, but it didn't really take off. So because of that, I didn't really work on it any, because I wasn't making money from it. So what are some good ways for students to find out more about the career? Like I just said, study other YouTubers, watch those inspirational clips at the bottom. Like, I'm not lying. Those things really did change my life. And since this is a middle school, I probably can't talk much about religion, but, you know, being that I went to Liberty, you can pretty much assume I was a Baptist. I grew up in church, spoke in church, graduated with some religion degrees on top of communication. So just have faith in yourself. I think that's a safe thing to say nowadays, because it's really hard to, you know what to say. And I guess you could say schools and stuff like that. So just have faith and believe in yourself. So even if your videos don't do well, don't worry. Everybody started somewhere. I can attest to that. I started with barely anything. And like I said before in my other video, I go into detail how I started on Twitter and WordPress and YouTube. 3 years of doing that while I was working at the call center. I was not making a thin dime from that. That was just me putting in the extra hours and working when I wasn't on the phone. So everybody, I don't care who you are, you have to pay your dues. Like, getting all these subscribers and all this money, it doesn't happen overnight unless you go viral, but you have to put in your dues to build up an audience. So I think that about does it for question number 15. And now we're going to go back to question 14 to finish things up. All right, this is the question I'm sure everybody probably tried to skip ahead to. What are the starting salaries and educational requirements for people who hold positions similar to yours? Let me answer the first question first. Educational requirements, technically there is nothing required, but it does help if you're familiar with the YouTube thing, because keep in mind that this is something that's self-taught in terms of I took the extra time to Google how to do things, talking with other YouTubers on social media, you know, in other Facebook groups and whatnot. Like, there are people who only have a couple hundred subscribers that have taught me things that I've been using, even though I have 60,000+ subscribers. So don't ever think that you are too smart to learn from somebody else. Keep that in mind too. And like I said before, the communications degree actually paid off, because a lot of times, you know, you will learn this as you grow up. People, or a lot of celebrities or athletes or whatnot, people who graduate college with a particular degree don't always find success in that program. They might end up doing something else. So just be aware of that. But for me, like I said before, you learn things growing up that you don't expect to actually apply to your life until later. I don't know about math because I have yet to use the Pythagorean theorem or quadratic formulas in my everyday life. So yeah, just saying, even though I did well in math. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are the starting salaries? Now, let me just put it this way. Every time people ask me how much I make, I am not really sure if I should say, but given the fact that I've been doing this for an official year now, or technically over a year, and I got my W-2s back, so technically when I say numbers, I'm really referring to 2018. So my income is definitely going to be bigger this year, because starting off 2019 with over 60,000 subscribers compared to January 2018, where I only had about 11,000, I'm definitely going to be making more money. Okay, so when it comes to the breakdown, I am typically making about $80 to $100+ a day on YouTube. And doing the math, you know, each month I am bringing in about 2,200 plus a month. But again, YouTube is drastically changing. There are months where I'm making $3,000+. There might be months where I'm making a little less than 2,000. But based off the fact that I'm 27, single, no wife, no kids, I have a 2-room apartment with a roommate, friend of mine from college. Also, I just want to throw this in here. One thing I do appreciate between me and my roommate, I remember I had one roommate for 1 year at a other location when I first got to Lynchburg, a very last minute thing. And then this was a person I knew for 2 years. You know, we pretty much both were in the same boat trying to find a place to live. Like, this was when I first got my call center job. Keep in mind, remember, I live an hour away, or, you know, before I moved up here. For the first 3 weeks of my job, I would literally have to wake up at 6 a.m. and drive to Lynchburg in the pitch black to avoid hitting deers and whatnot, and get to my job 7:45, go through training, get off at 4:45, drive all the way back home, get back by like 6 p.m. or whatever, go to sleep early, do the next morning for the first 3 weeks until I got an apartment where I lived about 12 minutes away from the job. So once again, I put in work, because keep in mind, at that time, I didn't know I was going to be living in Lynchburg so much. So those drives that I complained about actually made it so I was comfortable with just getting in my car and going whenever I wanted to. So that's, like I was saying before, things that actually kind of suck now will actually help you out in the future. But let's see. Yeah, when it comes to roommates, we actually had like a little mock interview. We met up at River Ridge Mall in the food court because we've known each other for about a year and a half at the time, but we didn't know each other because we never lived together. And we literally just went through like some questions between each other, like, roommate stuff, like, who does what chores and stuff like that. And we hit it off well, and boom, we've been in the same place on Timberlake for 4 years. So that says something. So when choosing a roommate, do not play roommate roulette. That does not end well all the time. So in any case, and thanks to my roommate, he actually gave me the tip of, yo, just try to get your channel monetized. And I did, and it worked. But once again, I'm going to plug that video, How to YouTube, which is a long video, but I go into a lot of detail. When I first started, my first ever ad revenue from YouTube was about $650, $70 or something like that. That's when I first got monetized. This was in June of 2017. And when I got that first direct deposit in my account, I was freaking out. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I actually can get paid for talking about random stuff. Then the next month it was like 800. And then I think in September, I made over $1,000. I was literally in tears because I couldn't believe I was making money from doing this. And once again, I quit the job in October because, like I said, I've gotten my budget down to where, in terms of my necessities, and I'm talking my half of the rent, Wi-Fi, my car payment, my phone bill, Netflix, groceries, I need about $800 to $900 in order to pay all that. Any other money is extra. I can do what I want with it. So that's why I left my job, because I had enough money in savings to last for 6 months in terms of my necessities, just in case YouTube bombs, so I can like grow my revenue as time went on. So 2018, during the apocalypse, which I talked about in question number 5, oh, wait, was it 6? Things got better. So now I'm sitting in a position where, thankfully, within the first 2 weeks of the month, and this goes for every month, I am making more than enough money to pay my bills. So that is that is something to be very thankful for. So yes, at the moment I'm making about, over $2,000 a month. But keep in mind, I'm single and I'm not using this as a, bachelor video. That's not the purpose of this video. But just to put it in perspective, if I were married with kids, I may have to be doing another job in order to, pay all the bills. But that leads to my next point, where I do have a quote unquote side hustle where I sell things on eBay. And kids, if you're listening to this, do not be ashamed to be a nerd, because it actually pays off. What are you talking about, Jeremy? I'm glad you asked. I've always been like a hoarder of sorts, because I grew up in the phenomenon that was Pokemon and Power Rangers and Digimon and Dragon Ball and so many other franchises. I have a lot of toys, trading cards, video games from that time of my life, and I never stopped. But the thing was, I was never that guy running up in people's faces like, hey, have you heard about the next? They knew I liked that stuff, but the fact that I was a quiet person, very good in the classroom in terms of grades and whatnot, helping other people study and stuff like that, and just an overall good person, I guess, because people would tell me that all the time. Not to say that in an egotistical way, but you remember how people, when they say things about you, and that actually does impact how you grow up. So people were aware of that stuff. And as time went on, I got more of a collection. I remember when just another plug-in, I did not have a car on campus. I did not get my driver's license until I was 20. Why? I hate driving. Well, at least I hated driving at the time. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. There was nowhere to go. So I got my driver's license right before I turned 21. That way people wouldn't say that you're 21 and you can't drive. I just decided to go get it, and I did. So when I was on campus, I was riding the bus. I remember many a days walking miles from the Circle on Liberty University all the way to River Ridge Mall. I have done that before. And I love going to Ollie's. I am an Ollie's junkie, and I am proud of it. The thing was, I would buy action figures and whatnot. And as you grow older, you don't really play with action figures so much. It's just buy them and just keep them in their original packaging. And believe it or not, I have sold some things for like $40, $50 plus. My nephew is 7, and luckily he likes a lot of the stuff that I like growing up. So when he sees my DVD collections and whatnot of Power Rangers, he freaks out because, oh my God, Power Rangers. And then he just hates it because I am a person that is proud to say I know a lot of theme songs from my childhood. Kim Possible, SpongeBob, Rugrats, even the songs without words, That's So Raven and stuff like, and Jimmy Neutron. So he hates it when I'm singing the songs out loud when he sings it, because according to him, he is the only one that knows it. And I'm thinking, kid, I was watching this stuff when I was your age. I knew about this show before you even existed. So no. But more to the point of eBay, YouTube is great, but it only pays once a month. So basically, I set it up so when I get paid by YouTube, I pay all my bills, like rent, car, everything. I pay all of that stuff. And any money extra, you know, student loans, I put in savings, I buy groceries, and I do whatever I want with the rest. And being the fact that I'm single, I can do whatever I want. Again, Bobby Brown, is my prerogative. I made this money, you didn't. So there have been times where I feel like I'm on one of those, what's that channel, HGTV? I know whenever I go to the dentist for a cleaning or a filling or whatever, HGTV is always on. So like the Property Brothers and whatnot, I am familiar with those shows. And I know there are other shows where people like buy stuff that's like damaged and whatnot, then they fix it up and resell it. That's kind of what I do. Like I will go to like Walmart or Ollie's or Dollar General or whatnot, and I'll buy stuff on clearance, and then I can sell it for a higher price online, because you can do that. And yeah, and I will say, and I can say this because the year is technically over, in 2018 I started selling stuff on eBay in June, and going from there to December, because I just put on my taxes, I made about $6,572. And that's pretty much because I have a lot of stuff from childhood. I am talking storage bins worth of stuff from childhood to even adulthood, buying stuff. When Toys R Us closed last year, I know I spent like $400 in there buying stuff and then reselling stuff. There was a Power Ranger Megazord. My mom actually bought 2 by accident for my nephew's birthday. It was Power Rangers Dino Charge. It was the only good season of Power Rangers on Nickelodeon. So I got to keep one because my nephew played with his, and it was last month actually. This is a Megazord for $30. I was able to sell it for $175. And Pokemon video games, my gosh, Pokemon Heart Gold. When I have video games, I have the original packaging. I had the Pokewalker, and I'm talking Pokemon, so being middle schoolers are listening, you all probably know what I'm talking about, even though the anime now sucks compared to when I was growing up, but that's neither here nor there. Pokemon Heart Gold, I sold that game for $150 because I had the original packaging and everything. But believe it or not, the most expensive things I've sold on my eBay store are Pokemon cards, because I keep mine in excellent condition. And no, sadly, I never got the first edition holographic Charizard, but yeah, I have binders of Pokemon cards under my desk where I'm recording. And if you come to my, well, excuse me, if you come to my apartment and if you were to take a tour of my bedroom, it looks like a warehouse where everything is well organized, but I have comic books stacked up, I have video games, I have DVDs and everything. eBay is a business for me. I think I did find a first edition shiny Gyarados. I bought this card this was in Danville Mall about 14 years ago. I was 13. Yeah, I want to say between 12 to 14 years ago. I bought this card for $5. It was already in a protective sleeve and everything. And when I went back to my parents' house sometime last year to clean out my closet, I found a box full of Pokemon cards that I bought, you know, for dirt cheap because they were already in the packaging and whatnot. I sold this card for no. The starting bid was $175. I sold it for $250. So just to put it in perspective, kids, if you have toys and action figures and whatnot, I would advise you to keep them in the original packaging and put them in a storage bin, stack them up in your closet, because when you get to be college age, like 20 and above, you could probably pay your tuition with that stuff. And I am living proof of that. So guys, that's all I'm saying. Like, if you all live in a time where you don't get ridiculed for that stuff, like, you know, liking that anime and whatnot, it's cool now. But back in like between like 2005, 2009, when you're in high school and whatnot, yeah, people would kind of make fun of you. But guess what? Who's laughing now, baby? I got money. Man, if you watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Salem the Cat, I love that cat. That's like my spirit animal. So between eBay and YouTube, I think I made about $26,000 to $28,000 last year in 2018. And once again, I was just starting, so hopefully this year the numbers will be way up. So yes, this isn't the most concrete job, but at the same time, you get what you put into it. So I put in a lot of work, and my numbers are a reflection of that. So yeah, that pretty much answers question number 14. Starting salaries are pretty much zero because literally you don't get monetized until you reach certain guidelines within YouTube. So start now while you're still in school because you have plenty of time to build an audience. So when you do get to college age or high school and whatnot, you already got a part-time job. So one thing I want to stress is that this is not an Amway pitch. This isn't a pyramid scheme, because trust and believe, I have seen those in real life. And as you get older, you will have friends who have, if you've seen memes about this and haven't understand what it meant, it's like when you haven't seen somebody for 5 years and then they have like an Amway pyramid behind their back because, you know, oh, I haven't talked to you in years. Let me tell you what I've been up to. I have heard so many of those speeches. I'm not lying, but I never got involved with it. I took the free products though, but I never got involved with it because I don't really like, you're literally turning your friendship into a business, and going into business with friends is never easy and it usually leads to disaster. So just to let you know that. Do I have experience in that? Not really, but I've seen it. And yeah, statistics show it doesn't work well unless you and the friend, like you and your buddy or family member or whatnot, when you're both struggling, everything is all peaches and cream because you're growing together. Once you start making money, everything is great. But once you start making that real bank, that's when people start debating, you know, I do more than you, so I should get more money. And then, yeah, I don't like dealing with that. So I love doing it solo. Like I said, when I started this YouTube channel, I didn't start it for money. I started it just to get a community of have and have not fans together to, you know, interact. And now it's what I do for a living. And I don't know where this is going to lead. Like, I don't know how long I'm doing this full time. I don't know if this will lead to another job opportunity or some along those lines, or maybe a Tyler Perry notices the channel. I don't know, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. I'm getting paid for it. It pays my bills and, you know, keeps debt collectors off my back. So Sally Mae hasn't called me in quite some time because I'm making my payments. But yeah, guys, this was great. If you made it this far in the video, give yourself a pat on the back, because like I said before, I was recording a few other videos. Then I got the email from the middle school pretty much laying out the schedule for the day. And if you hear papers rustling, I'm literally looking at the schedule. I was like, okay, so from 9:06 a.m. to 9:31 a.m. we have 80 people, and I'm like, that's not enough. I got to give these kids something better. So if, you know, I didn't really answer your full questions, then that's why I did the video. I felt like, to be fair, because I remember what it's like being in career fairs, or as I got older going to job fairs, and not really getting all the answers I wanted. That's why I decided to take the time, make this lengthy video to answer all the questions as in depth as possible. So with that being said, guys, what are you waiting for? Check out those videos I put in the description below, or excuse me, in the top comment that I pinned to the top. Look at those videos to get some inspiration, because you can start now. You know, just don't make it your life though. You're still young. Live, hang out with people, have fun, because this isn't your job yet, but you can at least get it off the ground by making some videos and being consistent with the uploads. And be safe out there, guys, for real. The internet has there's weirdos everywhere, because, you know, it's the internet. So I don't want anybody getting in trouble because they're using YouTube for the wrong thing. And, you know, PSA, you know, when I was a kid growing up, I love the meme though. It's like, when you're a kid, you're told not to get into cars with strangers or talk with strange people over the internet. But nowadays, you use the internet to contact people to drive up to you in cars and you get in them. Uber. Times have changed. But with that being said, if there are any other questions that weren't listed in the 15, feel free to comment them below. And if I get enough questions, you know, I'll probably make a part 2 to this video, because I honestly like doing this. This is fun. And if you want to help me out, just hit that subscribe button, and also check out my eBay store. There is free shipping on everything. That's not a promotion I'm doing just because I'm speaking with the students. I've always done free shipping, because you have to treat this like a job. And I need to say this again. You need to treat this like a job, because there will be sleepless nights sometimes, because sometimes news will drop and I have to wake up and do a video right away if I want to, you know, strike while the iron's hot. And my schedule, if you want to be honest, if you want to take those 12, 15 hours of YouTube a week and put eBay on top of that, like there are some times where I'm selling like 40 some items at once. And I'm the kind of person that likes to make one trip to the post office, even though it's 7 minutes up the street, because they know me so well, because I go in there so frequently. You know, I buy my own boxes, I buy my own tape, I buy my own protector sleeves for the cards and whatnot. And that costs money. So let me just say, when I was doing taxes last week, I haven't finished them yet, but I have to finish. But when I was inserting, how much I was making, it was stressing me out because I owed the IRS. But once I put in those expenses, because it isn't cheap doing this, buying the equipment, I bought a new laptop, a new iPod because my old one got, just died. Not to mention all the money I spent on eBay and things like that. That literally whittled it down. So thank goodness I got out of the red. So it does get stressful at times. But keep in mind, like I said, you get what you put into it. And I keep track of all my receipts and whatnot because, being a kid, you see those memes like the whole, man, they never taught us about taxes and accounting in school. Talk to your parents now because that stuff does really count. Like, really, it does. I'm not lying. Like, you will be surprised how much you spend in this position because, like literally cleaning supplies for your computer, flash drives, external hard drives, that counts as expenses on your taxes. Wait, I'm turning this into an accounting 101 class. Don't forget I said that, but I don't know, guys, like for real, if you have other questions, let me know. Like I said, I will compile them. And if I get another 15 good questions, I'll definitely do a part 2 to this video. But with that being said, it was a privilege meeting everybody that I was able to meet. And if I ran out of business cards, I'm sorry. But like I said before, if you go to the description in the video itself, you will find links to all my social media. And again, check out that eBay store. There are great things in there. And if you see prices that you don't like, submit a bid to me, like an offer. And if it's good, then I'll accept it. And if it's not good, we will try to bargain it out. But if you go to the middle school, then I'm assuming you are in Lynchburg, so the shipping would not be that high whatsoever. So we could probably negotiate a deal. But in any case, again, be persistent, be positive, start now. A lot of people create groups where they have a friend group and they start doing YouTube videos together. Be careful because you could probably lose friends because of that. Let's say if you have a group of 5 people and then one of them is the heartthrob of the group, like all the girls love so-and-so, don't let jealousy get the better of you. Think of a game plan. Like literally, if you work with people, think of a game plan. It's like, okay, I'm going to be the editor. I'm going to be the one that records. I'm going to be the one in front of the camera. Establish that early. That way nothing happens along the way. Like that's how groups, if you look at all these musical groups that start out, then they break up because somebody goes solo because of money and stuff like that. Yeah, just do your own thing. Like I'm living proof. I'm an example. So once again, I want to reiterate, I'm just a regular guy. And if I could do this, remember, I had no ambition to do YouTube. It just happened because I put in the work. Without it, I was planting those seeds that I didn't know what they were growing into. So if a regular guy like me can make it, you can too. So thanks so much for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. And guys, remember, I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. So, tell if this is shared around SMS, tell all the teachers and whatnot. I know some of the adults in this school watch Tyler Perry's The Haves and the Have-Nots. And if you don't, it's on Hulu. Like, it is kind of a soap opera. So I don't know if kids can watch it. But I mean, if you're like me and you grew up, when you had to stay with your aunts and grandparents, you knew what soap operas was. I know what it was like watching General Hospital and One Life to Live and Judge Judy and Judge Joe Brown. Yeah, I remember. You only watch cartoons they were taking a nap, and even when they were a nap, they would pretend like they were still watching TV and you couldn't get the remote. So yeah, once again, guys, thanks so much. This was great, and yeah, I wish you the best of luck on YouTube. Congratulations on making it to the end of this video. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that thumbs up button as well as leaving your thoughts in the comment section below so we can keep the conversation going. On the left hand side of the screen, you should see a picture of Jeffrey Harrington. You can click on him in order to subscribe, but also hit the bell notification icon. That way you don't miss out on any new content. Also, you should see some videos appearing on the screen as well that I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy if you enjoyed the one you just saw. But also, be sure to follow me on social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links to all my social media will be in the description below. And in order to help this channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I'm going to need your help. So make sure to share this video as well as the channel around with all of your friends on your own social media. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you all in the next video.